Education is a power leading forward, the absolute philosophy in the world. Grasping technique, ambitious idea. Be skillful to be ever being. Strength of a country is based on a new generation and the young people. If you want to know the future of Kazakh country, look at Bolshak.
Ruling, controlling, and acting immediately are the major principles of Samat Tamirov. Whether as an airliner or at the wheel, as a crewman or a board captain, he is getting ready to pass all of these stages, and that was a choice of the man who wanted to be a pilot from his childhood. Samat Tamirov. From 2003 to 2008, he graduated with a bachelor's degree from the Kazakh National Technical University named after Satpayev, majoring in computer techniques and program supplements. From 2011 to 2013, he studied in the Civil Aviation Academy, majoring in aviation engineering and technology. From 2012 to 2014, he studied via the Ab Initio program in Florida, in the USA. Having dreamed of becoming a pilot, today Samat has risen to the helm. After graduation from the university with excellent marks, he was eager to become a programmer in the field of IT. Setting his goals and the way of reaching it, he entered his bachelor's degree in computer techniques and program supplements. After graduating from university, he worked as a programmer in such companies as Altan Munay Gas and the Altan Oil Group.
Samat группадағы ең бір сондай алғыр, зерек, креативті.
Samat was always the smartest and most creative student in the group. For example, he would do all of his laboratory work very well, and in lectures he always listened to the lectures very attentively.
Өте дәрісті жақсы тыңдап, оны және де лабораториялық жұмыстарды жақсы жасайтын.
His high requirements for himself and his regular research projects made his dreams come true. Working in the company, he heard about the program Ab Initio, which trains pilots, and decided to try it himself. It wasn't easy for him to pass these difficult questions and the requirements to become a specialist. But due to his knowledge, he was able to pass, and he graduated from the country's Civil Aviation Academy, majoring in aviation engineering and technology, and then he went abroad.
Ауылда тұрғанда әскерден жаңағыдан қайтып келген.
There was my mother and my father's sister and my brothers in the village who came back from the army. I used to take their caps and I would wear them, and then I started collecting them.
Солардың фуражкаларын алатынмын. Сол фуражкаларын жинап қоятын үйде.
The destiny of the future pilot must have been determined in his childhood. He liked wearing military clothes, and he might have felt that his nature was devoted to it, and that is why he looked at the sky so often.
Ұшақты көргенде, сонда қолымнан түсіп, жүгіріп, ұшақтың артынан жүгіріп, қолын былай көтеріп.
When he saw a plane, he would jump and he would run after it, shaking his hands and shouting, I'm here, take me with you." And then when the plane would disappear, he would start crying. He was always angry that they didn't take him with them.
Мен алып кетпеді, өзін былай қағатын, мен мұндамын деп сонда қағатын кеудесінен.
Samat is his parents' beloved son. When the dream of his childhood was coming true, his family agreed on the decision and they didn't stop him. On the contrary, they supported him in everything he did. They were his closest friends and his well-wishers. You shouldn't stop a boy if he has a desire and an aspiration. In this case, it's better to support your child. His mother and I decided this way, and so we supported him as much as we could. We told him that if he knew Kazakh, Russian, and English, we wanted him to continue his education, to improve his knowledge level. You can admire the talent of this young man. Of course, first of all, his parents are very proud of him. Learning all the difficult aviation terms in English, he tried not to forget his mother tongue. While visiting his birthplace, we noticed that Samat was full of good values. Especially, I'm satisfied with his kind heart.
Кішкентай кезінен өзінің бір өте жақсы қасиеті, адамгершілігі өте мол.
He has been full of human dignity since his childhood. He tried to respect adults and not to offend the youth. He wanted to satisfy their spirits. He was a very responsible boy. Whenever he's asked to finish some kind of work, he always tries to complete it and doesn't stop until he's finished it.
Тапсырған жұмысымды тиянақтай істеп, сол өзім ойымнан шыққандай солай орындайтын.
The Abinito program is a program formed by the National Air Transport Company, Air Astana. This is a kind of Balashak scholarship program. According to this program, Samat Tamirov was sent to the state of Florida in the USA, where he learned all of the nuances and theory of the aviation industry. It means that he knows the answers to over 6,000 questions on 16 different subjects, where he studied there for over 18 months.
2008-ден бастап біз осы программаны аштық. Ол біз ашқанымыз себебі Қазақстанда.
We opened this program in 2008. The reason why we opened this program is because Kazakhstan was lacking many pilots. And that's why we started to get these skillful pilots. Nowadays, we've sent about 250 people through this program. This pilot is flying in our airline. There is no such program in any country in the world. You can't take control of a plane until you've met all of the requirements, and you learn all of the programs properly. After passing this stage, the cadets who want to get a degree of pilot are sent to Cork City in Ireland, to the Atlantic Flight Academy. That is considered to be the last stage of the future pilot. As a result of his patience, for over 2 years he studied at the AFTA and decided to test his planes himself. He flew the Cessna 172, the Cirrus SR-20, and the Ireland Piper's Seneca planes, and even tested one of the most extreme aircrafts, the Aircraft Extra 300. Now his flight experience covers over 200 hours. The highest point that Samat flew includes 10,000 meters. Samat keeps in his mind all of the flights which are particular for him.
Америка құрама штаттарында ұшып жүргенде
Flying in the United States, I had some unforgettable moments. During one of them, I flew 2,000 to 3,000 feet. Cities are as small as my fingers from this height. The clouds are so beautiful, and I just have a lack of words of how to describe them.
бөлігі соншалықты сипаттайтын сөзі табылмайды.
The most difficult moment during education is the preparation for a flight. Before sitting on a plane, you have to imagine the mechanism and the direction. You have to visualize everything.
Америкада ұшу кезінде маған ең ұнайтын кезеңдер ол әуежайға ұшып.
The moment that I really liked in America was flying and landing in the airport. Because those moments are different. Each flight has its own peculiarity. Why is it exciting for me? Well, because these planes and the locations of the airports are all different. One of them is an airport in Santo Agustin.
Орналасқан жерлері олар әртүрлі болатын. Солардың бірі Сант-Августин аэропорты.
This experience consists of strict requirements and is determined with regular flight hours and plenty of training. The tests are controlled strictly, and we must meet the requirements and the standard specifications, which cover 250 hours. In a short period, the time necessary for the subjects are taught to form the pilots. You first have to prove your abilities, and then you become a worthy candidate in just over 18 months.
Шетелде алған тәжірибем өте үлкен және қызықты болатын. Теориялық базалары жақсы және қолайлы қолдануға. Ұшақты басқаруды бізге әлемдік стандарттарға сай.
The experience that I got abroad was a great and interesting one. Their theoretical basis is really good and effective. The instructors who meet the requirements of the world standards teach us how to control the plane. Their planes also meet the requirements of world standards. Just flying there is interesting and beautiful. I can confidently say that I've learned all of the nuances of aviation there.
Авиация саласында жетік меңгердім деп айта аламын мына жақта. Қойылатын талаптар ол біріншіден істеп жатқан жұмысыңа жауапкершілікпен.
The requirements which we must meet firstly are to be responsible for your work, and then to follow instructions and to work hard to correspond to the high standards.
Жұмысыңды атқару.
Samat Tamirov now is one of the cadets who has performed at a high result. He was trying with the best specialists of the world, and he got his certificate, which meets the requirements of world standards. Practicing in western and eastern directions is his experience, and now in Kazakhstan, he is going to be a crew pilot of the airline. Samat's surroundings formed such values as bravery and persistence. Over several years of studying abroad, when he returned to his motherland for a short time, he always spends time with his friends. If he's in the Atlantic, he shares with the cadets the most difficult moments in the aviation field. And while he's here on returning to Kazakhstan, he spends time with his classmates, where he shares his secrets with them. In these kinds of moments, he forgets all of the hard moments while in the air. Strong health. This is one of the most important requirements of being a pilot. There are many types of exercises and trainings to improve, and it begins with weightlifting and it ends with games.
Теннисті мен Америкада ойнай бастадым. Теориялық курс.
I started playing tennis in America, and during the lectures I sometimes wanted to warm up, and it interested me a lot. Now in Kazakhstan, I play with my friends. Besides flying, I have many friends who play tennis, and this hobby unites us.
Достарым көп, және осы қызығушылығымыз бізді біріктіреді.
During a flight, a change in time zones and atmospheric pressure, as well as a lack of oxygen, are all normal in this line of work. It requires strong health, patience, a clear mind, and a vivacity of your mind. Samat likes reading books, and he spends much of his time reading different literature. If he's less busy, he reads books about modern technology and world literature, and in this way he improves his knowledge level. Were there any moments where you were failing the test?
Ондай сәттер болады әрине. Ондай сәттерде мен
Well, of course, such moments did take place. In such times, I tried to do something else. Sometimes I would read books, or I would go outside to try to focus my mind. What was your first impression of your first flight while in the sky?
басында қорқыныш болатын. Бірақ штурвалға отырғаннан кейін
At first, I was scared, but when I took the helm, I lost my fear and I became really interested in it.
сезімі басты.
So, what helps you to become a pilot?
Біріншіден мотивация.
First of all, it's great motivation, and second, you have to have a good mood and be
және
interested in it.
қызығушылық.
So how do you get prepared for your flights?
Ұшудан бір күн бұрын
Well, one day before flying, I plan. I prepare my plan and all the procedures of the flight, and I specify the direction of the flight in advance. I try to motivate myself in the morning and not lose my temper. The most important thing is to sleep well. Day by day, the number of native pilots in Kazakhstan are growing. If before 150 candidates were sent to the Abinito program, now 30 candidates are studying there, and 25 to 30 new students are going to be sent there this year. Now, we can be sure that the future of Kazakh aviation is a bright one.